Welcome back. Joining me is Katarina Macleod, founder and executive director of Rising Angels, and she's sharing her personal story of how she was sexually trafficked. Katarina, just before commercial break, you were sharing with us that you had this false idea or this sentiment that if you could just save up enough money, then you can get you and your children out of this terrible path that you were on. What happened?
So what happened was, like I said, I spent 15 years. The longer you're in it, the more damaging it is. Your mind becomes not your own anymore. Self-worth goes down, and then it's survival. That was all I knew. Um, so 15 years in, I ended up having 4 kids in total, two of them with a pimp. And, by the time 15 years came about, I was suicidal. I was getting, victimized by clients all the time. There was a lot of violence happening and a lot of drug addiction going on. And I knew if I didn't get out, I was going to die.
So
And there
how
were times that I thought I was going to die throughout those 15 years, right? It's a long time for somebody to go through something like that. When I was finally able to escape, it was actually a client who got me out. He offered to take care of me and my children. And I took that out. Wasn't the most healthy thing to do, but at that point I was desperate.
right.
So he did. He took me out, and for 3 years, he financially supported me. I started, volunteering with different organizations. I wanted to share the truth that women don't choose this. Nobody would choose to do this. I wanted people to really understand that. And then 3 years later, he decided, he was leaving me. I basically become his private prostitute. He controlled the finances, gave me an allowance, but in my brain, it was better
Right.
than what I had been going through. So then he left me 3 years later, and in my mind, I was going back because how was I going to support myself or my kids? And my daughter was involved in church, and she had some youth leaders in her church, and she reached out to them, and they offered to help me financially, get a place to live and do that kind of stuff. At first, I was very hesitant, but in the end, I ended up taking the help, and that's how it all began. So the
Wow.
mentorship, those people ended up walking alongside of me and mentoring me and helping me. And, Rising Angels was born.
Wow, wow, it's an incredible story. And again, I'm sorry for all the victimization stemming from your own father as a child. That's horrible,
Yes,
horrible. No child should have to live through that. And we can see the harm, the long-term harm that causes. Um,
right.
and it devalues a young
Mhm.
child. Was there a precise moment where you said, you know what, I've got to stop this? I mean, I know you kept saying, if I made enough money that I could get out on my own. It became almost like a cycle. But was there a moment that you said, okay, today's the day, I got to get out? You mentioned the church. There was a youth pastor.
Right. So I remember I left October 31st. I believe it was 2009. I left. And I remember that exact moment that I left. I'd become so far removed from who I was. I was violent. I was angry. I was not a good mother. Just all of those things compiling and doing this every single day. It was killing me. And I remember just being like, I cannot do this another day. If I stay here, I'm going to end up hurting somebody or I'm going
Mm,
to hurt myself. And it was the hardest thing I ever did was to leave because I didn't know what that would look like, right? There was a fear of like, how am I going to do anything? And I just took that leap. And then, yeah, like I said, that client helped me out. And then when he left, it was a church and people in the church who came alongside of me. And that's where it all began.
and now you have an organization called Rising Angels Awareness and Restorative Care. Why was it important for you to start this organization?
When I came out, there wasn't really anybody who understood what I was going through. There wasn't survivor support that was survivor led. And
Mm,
so, people can have head knowledge, you can have educational knowledge, but unless you've really lived it, you're not going to understand what somebody has gone through. So that was crucial for me. I wanted to be that voice. I wanted to be the person for these women that when they were struggling or trying to come out, that they had somebody who had walked the same journey that they had walked. And I could understand all the highs and lows because it's not like you get out and then you're good. You've got complex PTSD, you suffer from there's different mental stuff that you suffer from. It takes a lifelong healing journey to get you from A to B. So, I have girls that I've been mentoring for 15 years now.
Wow. And you've been out for
Hmm.
15 years. So basically right from the
Yeah.
beginning, you've been mentoring these women. Wow,
Y-
such necessary and important work. I want to hear more about what you do and some of the issues that we see when we return from this commercial break.